Today, I want to explain something that a lot of parents are talking about right now, and that is leucovorin. Some families say it helped their child's autism, some say it did nothing, and some say it changed only a few behaviors. The truth is more complicated than the posts you see online, and it has nothing to do with reversing autism. It has everything to do with understanding what leucovorin is actually treating. Let's break this down in a simple and honest way. Part 1. Some kids diagnosed with autism actually have something else wrong. There is a condition called Cerebral Folate Deficiency, or CFD. CFD can cause developmental delay, language regression, motor problems, sensory overload, irritability, and repetitive behaviors. If that sounds a lot like autism, that is the problem. CFD can look almost identical on the surface. So some kids get an autism diagnosis when the real issue is CFD. When those kids take folinic acid, which is leucovorin, their CFD symptoms improve or even go away. It looks like the child recovered from autism, but that is not what happened. The child never had autism. They had CFD, which responds well to treatment. Part 2. Some children have both autism and CFD. This is where things get confusing for parents. A growing theory in research is that CFD and autism can occur together in the same child. In these cases, leucovorin helps, but only with the CFD part. So a child may sleep better, regulate better, calm faster, or focus more. Those improvements come from treating CFD, not autism. The deeper autistic traits, things like sensory wiring, communication style, emotional patterns, and processing differences, do not change because leucovorin does not affect autistic brain wiring. This is also why some symptoms improve and others stay the same. Loss of speech can happen in both autism and CFD. Folinic acid will only help the part caused by CFD. Part 3. Leucovorin does not work when CFD is not present. Some kids take leucovorin, and absolutely nothing happens. It is not because the treatment failed, it is because the child does not have CFD. Autism is not caused by a folate problem. So if a child has autism but not CFD, folinic acid has nothing to fix. This is not the parent's fault. It's not the doctor's fault. It is simply the wrong treatment for the biology involved. Part 4. Many other conditions can mimic autism. This is another reason so many treatments look miraculous for some children and useless for others. Autism is a behavioral diagnosis. Many medical, neurological, and psychiatric conditions can produce autistic-like behaviors. Some examples include cerebral folate deficiency, intellectual disability, global developmental delay, childhood mood disorders, severe anxiety, selective mutism, ADHD, trauma and chronic stress, early onset OCD, language disorders or apraxia, attachment issues, antisocial behaviors in older children, sensory processing disorders, metabolic disorders, lead toxicity, hearing loss, chronic ear infections, autoimmune encephalitis. If you treat the real underlying condition, the autism-like behaviors improve. But that does not mean autism was reversed. It means the child never had autism in the first place. Part 5. Why proper evaluation matters. This is why it is so important to have a pediatric neurologist and a child psychiatrist rule out other medical conditions before assuming everything is autism. Many families never get a full workup. They get a diagnosis based on behavior alone. And then they get confused when treatments designed for other conditions do not work. A full evaluation protects children from misdiagnosis and directs parents toward the right treatments for the right reasons. Part 6. The simple pattern. Here is the whole thing in one sentence. Leucovorin helps children who have CFD. It partially helps children who have both autism and CFD. It does not help children who have autism without CFD. Autism itself is not reversible because autism is a neurodevelopmental difference that begins very early in development. But CFD is treatable, and knowing the difference is what really changes outcomes. Part 7. Bonus. How CFD is diagnosed. A quick note, because this confuses a lot of parents. CFD cannot be diagnosed with regular blood tests. Blood folate can be normal, B12 can be normal, and everything still looks fine. Genetic tests may show folate metabolism issues, but many children with CFD have normal genetics. The only way to diagnose CFD is through a spinal tap that measures 5-MTHF levels in cerebrospinal fluid. Doctors only use this test when a child has serious neurological symptoms because it is invasive and requires sedation. In closing, if leucovorin helped your child, that is valid. If it did nothing, that is also valid. It all comes down to biology, not parenting, and not hope. The more we understand what is actually happening inside these kids' bodies, the better we can support them in a real, meaningful way.